Hey you, welcome to my channel. I am Camille and I am going to show you what this hairstyle has. However, this hairstyle is slightly damped, not completely dry, but the curls are beautiful because I used 2 products on it only, and I wanted to recreate it again. However, there's only one step I missed, which is blow drying. So I get out of the shower, I fix my face with skincare, and my clip is on its 4 legs. I'm still going to use it until it's dead, and we are only going to use conditioner, the curling gel Soufflé, and a brush. So let's begin, shall we? I'm going to demonstrate how it goes. I am not going to use my tail in the back. I have not for the past 2 weeks because this hairstyle doesn't need it, is what I'm thinking. So I get a little pinch, but I got too much. Please subscribe if you must, if you feel like it. I added too much to my hand of the conditioner, so I get it back into the container and then add that in, then use the souffle. Now I'm trying to get all the products going backwards instead of to the side and pulling it upwards so that it's away from the root area. I'm also trying not to add too much product closest to the root because I've been washing every 5 days and I don't want to have dry dandruff hair. So I make multiple sections. These sections are not straight, they're just where I feel it needs to be, and then I put it all up in a bun, clip it, and then do it again with another horizontal separation, always trying to make the horizontal section in a small amount but not too much of a bunch so that I am not adding too much product. Just making sure they're all within range and always going backwards when making it. Also, I don't want to do too much damage, so I try not to pull or stretch or rip out any tangles, and if there are tangles, then I would use either conditioner or what would you call it, water, to try to detangle that little knot, because eventually it will come apart unless you just want to cut it off, which I sometimes do. Now as we approach the middle, the nape of the head up top, it's getting much longer hair and a little bit more difficult to control, that I tend to just put my head forward and make the horizontal separation into sections. Always take a deep breath because you are using a lot of arm work when this happens. So yeah, a lot of stuff goes into this. So once I'm thoroughly satisfied with that, I like to make sure the hair is up and not in the way, and proceed with the next section. Now in the top, it looks like I could do this just by myself, just in one section, but I tend to pay more attention to the front section more, so that's like a special care. So this will be the last section I would make that's in the top, and then I just put the rest of the hair behind the ear because I don't want to make a little bun up top. Now, as we've done made the sections, we now need to hydrate the hair. We want that squishy sound even with the water on it, and then also to maintain that squishy sound with the conditioner. So I always scrunch it a bit before I wipe my hands or move on to the next stage, because I want to make sure that it's nice and damp, saturated with product, and ready for the next step. Is really my go-to for this. Then there are, as I progress up to the top of my head, the hair starts to dry and gets frizzy looking. Then you always need to add some water But the spectrum of adding water is you need to make sure too much water can look better than the rest of the hair. So I don't limit the amount of spritz I add to the hair. I just go by how it feels, because only particular areas of the hair can be more damp than the rest. Mainly the ends would be more dry than the hair closest to the root. So I mainly pay more attention to the ends and not so much the root area unless I'm going further up, which ultimately means that the hair is still drying as I'm putting more product in. Over time it needs to be worked on. So now we approach always using the water bottle, always wiping my hands with a shirt so I'm not handling the bottle with slippery hands that have product on, and then transferring the product onto another item that can be slippery, and just a slippery mess is what I try to prevent when using the towel or t-shirt. Now here's the soufflé. Yeah, looks like snot, runny snot, but at least it's not gross looking. It might be slightly a little gross. Anywho, when applying this, I tend to go somewhat close to the root, maybe like an inch away, and then smooth out to the ends. Add more if needed, but always hear that scrunch when it's done, and then continue with the rest. I was having fun doing this, letting it just drop into my palm. Now the amount of stuff you use, this gel consistency, depends on the amount of hair and how much your hair can handle and not look greasy or oily from the product. So it's a hit and miss. Sometimes you notice after you're done your hair that you may have added a little too much, which would make it look like you added gel and a lot of mousse, or you added too little and your hair is already frizzy before the next day, if not the second day. So it's a hit and miss. I do like this curling style soufflé, but I don't want to use too much. So to prevent that, I use less, but still always try to make sure it's not too close to the root area as I rake it to the ends and just have fun, you know, with the soufflé that it is. Anywho, I am almost done with this section. Always scrunch it in, wipe my hands before I move on to the next step, which is brushing. Now, brushing can be a pain, but it's a requirement in order to define your hair. Now, this brush is not my Pocahontas brush, which is a wet brush. This is just a brush. Now, I'm trying something new, just cause, and I seem to like it. The only horrible part is it's much more heavy duty on the curls. It's not like the Pocahontas brush I have, the purple one. The purple one is more gentle, whereas this blue one is a bit aggressive, especially when I have tangles. So when that happens, I do try to bring out the water or my fingers to try to pull the knot, or going to become a knot, separate from each other, the strands, so that we can make that knot disappear. And I don't need to cut it. So sorry, I'm a little tired. Anywho, when knots happen, I tend to try to use the brush, but when I feel like the brush isn't doing its work, that's when I would use my fingers or conditioner or water, depending on how severe the knot is. Sometimes knots can happen, and when you look at it, it's unmanageable to try to undo when it's a pretty tight knot. So then sometimes I do cut it, but I haven't yet, but I have in the past. Now, as you see, sometimes the hair can be a little bit too damp for me, and I feel like when it's air drying, that section would take longer. So I then would use the towel or the t-shirt to soak up the product a little bit, but hopefully maintain the consistency of dampness I need. Yeah, because I don't want my hair dripping while it's air drying. And always be patient with your hair. It should be a requirement, but sometimes time is not what you have, and then you're just pulling out hair for the sake of pulling it. Not something I recommend. Always be gentle. If you need to take a break, take a break. That's long enough for you to calm down, and short enough so that you can go back to brushing your hair without aggression. So as always, brushing backwards so that there's no middle part or side part. I'm kind of not really caring where it goes. It can just part wherever it would like to part, in the middle or on the side or off center. I'll apologize. Of course, you will find a knot as you brush. Now, in the front, we are going to spritz it. This is where I use special care. I make sure it's nice and damp since this has been drying since the beginning. And I want to make it nice and damp, not too damp, because water is already in the conditioner as well as the curling gel souffle. So we don't want to over drench it. And then I combed it before I apply the gel. So I'm brushing after I use the conditioner to my heart's content. Brush it individual parts into sections, because sometimes these curls like to curl on its own. So I let it do that. But sometimes I separate them later when it's completely dry. So yeah. And scrunching just defines it much, much more. But yeah, I like it. It kind of almost looks like jelly. The process to almost it becoming a slime, the gel. So once I've added the gel closest to the root, so I feel like I need to adjust the closest to it, but my hair is a bit frizzy in the front, which I'm trying to work on and pay attention to the curls not looking too frizzy. So I like to shake them. Then I bring out Cantu's Edge gel and smooth out on the sides, because I'm going to be wearing a, what is it called? A wrap? Something in the evenings that will ultimately flatten the front area of my hair. So I'd rather just use that gel to make it okay. And this is my ball of hair that I brushed out. And yeah, that's about it. So the next day, this is what my hair looks like. There are little areas where it's frizzy, but overall you see the definition and the curls and the bounce, and it's beautiful. So then once I've had my day of that day, in the evenings I am ready to put my hair up again so that I can go to bed. But I've been playing with my camera, and now you get to see my pimples up close and my dry patches around my lips when I tried to wax my upper lip. Now, let me show you. This is navy. Navy, say hi. Yeah, this is what I use. It's blue, navy blue. So I thought, why not? And it looks similar to the length of my hair, so I thought, perfect. I put it inside out because I'm going to put it on my hair as if it's a scrunchie, a rubber band, and just grab it and pull it through. Now it is touch and go. I haven't quite mastered it completely. I was kind of wondering which way it should go because it's already formed in a way that you should know where the top of the band should be, where the bottom should be a bit different from how it's displayed. And I feel like I should have moved it a little bit toward the left instead of the way it is now. But I can't see without my glasses, so I couldn't necessarily tell what I needed to do. But I think eventually I figured it out and put it in where it needs to go. But yeah, that's what I do with my hair. And then I saw a video on YouTube Shorts about using your eyeliner with your finger and making a line on it to make your winged eyeliner clean and precise with just one swipe. And this is how I did it. Yeah. So then I was surprised by how it looked, that I then tried to go a little further and try to color it in some way, but I kind of messed it up that way. Anywho, I'm trying to learn how to use makeup here and there. Not really. But I do play with it and I put it on my face and then wipe it off when I'm done. But yeah, that's what I did with my eyeliner that's been in my bathroom. Now, I am going to remove this because it is time for bed. Grab some Pond's cold cream, wipe that off, use a tissue and wipe the residue of the product off as well. Put some glasses on and say that is it. That is all I have for you. Like and subscribe, and as always, embrace joy.